Hello and welcome to your. My name is Broken, and this is my final live stream. And I always have technical problems with these, so I do not know if anyone can hear me, and there's no one here yet. So we're gonna see if I can figure this thing out, and I'm gonna check. Yep, okay, I got the audio. Um, so this is my final live stream. 0 viewers right now. That's cool. Didn't expect very many people. I'm just gonna talk a little bit and hopefully it'll be something that you guys can look back on over the next couple of weeks and enjoy a little bit about. And it'll be fun. If you have anything to say, go ahead and put it in the chat. That would be fun to interact with people on this last stream. But I just wanted to do kind of a look back over my time on YouTube. And yeah, so to start, I love Star Wars. And I've always loved Star Wars since the first time I ever saw it. The first time I remember seeing it, I think I was like 5 or 6 years old. My family moved when I was a little bit older, and so I distinctly remember being in, like, the first house that I lived in, um, and seeing, what I remember was seeing Return of the Jedi, and I watched it with my dad on, like, a Saturday morning. It was on TV, and when my mom got home, I told her something to the effect of like, "There's another one." Now, I don't remember actually seeing Empire or um, the original, which is now called A New Hope, but I remember that when I saw not Revenge of the Jedi, if only. When I saw Return of the Jedi, I ended up saying, "There's another one of these," to my mom, so I did see the others first, um, but I've loved it since I was a little kid and, played tons of the games, read, at this point, I've probably read 30 books. The most recent one I finished last week was Paradise Snare, or The Paradise Snare, which is the first in the Han Solo trilogy, and I've started the second one in that. And I've got something like 80 books that I bought on eBay over the last year that I'll slowly be reading through, and I've already read several of those. And then I've listened to probably another 10 or 15 audiobooks. So I've probably got about 45 of the books, rather between reading or audio at this point, and we'll hopefully get quite a few more. But I've always loved it, and I've always enjoyed telling funny stories. So I came up originally, the very first idea I had was, what if Porkins blew up the Death Star? And that ended up being like my 15th video or something like that. But before I ever posted a single video on this channel, I wrote and like edited a lot of the videos because I had this hope that with my first video, like, I'd post it and a bunch of people would think it was really funny, and it'd be like, it'd just be um well received and lots of people would watch it. And then I'd have a bunch of other videos that I've already made, so I wouldn't be in this situation where I'm like scrambling to make videos. And yeah, so I worked on making videos and writing scripts for months and months, close to a year, before I ever posted my first video. And when I posted it, I had a whole bunch more like uploaded on the same time and like set to release, like scheduled releases and stuff. And so that was what I started with. And after a couple months, I got to the point where I could not do the same release schedule, and then things got busy with life. As I've mentioned on this channel a few times, I'm currently a PhD student, and I'm most of the way through my PhD. I'm married. I have a job. Like, I have all these, good, wonderful responsibilities. And I just got swamped with all of these good things that have prevented me from continuing at anything close to the rate I could do on Your Broken Galaxy. My hope was that it would also be like a part-time job that I actually would be able to kind of use this hobby of making videos to help kind of support my family and maybe offset my PhD tuition. Um, to do that kind of thing. But that never really materialized. And so it's like, I can't really justify trying to commit all this time to it, which you guys have seen over the last year as the amount of videos I've made has just dropped. But that being said, I did want to do just a little bit of a retrospective. And so I know you guys can just hear my voice, but I'm going to pull up my content catalog that I have here and just look back through some of my videos and just talk for maybe 20 minutes or so. And I'll be switching back and forth between screens so I can hopefully see if anyone posts anything in the chat, which you are welcome to do. So my most viewed video is EU Luke meets Disney Luke, which I really liked that idea right at the beginning that like these are two different guys, and if they meet each other, um, EU Luke, the expanded universe Luke, would look at the Disney Luke and think he's just a total schlub and a total joke and everything. And so, yeah. Oh, Metal Pie Pillow. I see that comment. Mike, I see that. Thank you for saying it's a shame to see me leave. Um, but yeah, I just really like the idea of doing the videos of Luke, the two Lukes meeting, and it started out as shorts, which did really well. But I took like 4 shorts and I put them together, and then my fifth most viewed video was EU Han meets Disney Han, and then what did that be? One, two, three, my ninth most viewed video was EU Leia meets Disney Leia. So I was really happy to see that those did well early on, but I could only go so far with that. And to you guys who are watching, thank you for the posts. I appreciate it. Go ahead and ask questions or tell me your ideas or whatever. I know Metal Pipe, who typed just in first comment, you've been faithful to suggest videos on like as a comment on the last 100 videos I put out. So if anyone ever goes back through and looks and see who's commented most on my videos, I think it's you. I also think, Metal Pipe, that of all of the video request ideas that I've done more of yours than anybody else's. There's a few different people that I've done multiple of their requests, and you're one of them. At this point in time, I can't remember exactly which ones were your requests, but yeah, so the first video I did, though, going back to my retrospective here, that really took off was what if a chunk of Alderaan hit the Death Star? And I'm going to pull up my analytics. And yeah, so after the first 5 days, I had 850 views. And then after the first 63 days, I had like 1,150. But then from that point, and then over the next 110 days, so the next like 2 months, it jumped over 6,000 views. And it just like shot me up. That video got me 138 subscribers. But like for a couple months, it was like, oh yeah, a couple people are watching it. And then out of nowhere, it just kind of exploded, which shot me up to over 1,000 subscribers. So I was able to get monetized, which is fun. And I just did not expect that video to do even remotely as close to as well as it did. Um, and then the next video, which I did expect to be one of my best performing videos, was what if Anakin was a girl? I've just not seen a lot of those. It's such an obvious idea, but I've not seen a lot of those online, especially at the time that I posted it out of all the what ifs. And then, of course, mine was comedy. So I knew that was going to be one of my most viewed videos, and it ended up being number 3. I'm curious, for the few of you guys that are watching, what are your favorite videos of mine? Because I've always wondered what people really like, because there's a difference between what's popular and what people like. I might have a funny thumbnail and a bunch of people click on it, so it's got a lot of views, but then people don't actually really like it. Um, so if anyone wants to let me know, that'd be cool. Um, and yeah, the first video I had to get over 1,000 views, if I remember correctly, was what if the Imperial Guards actually did anything? And so that was one of my ongoing jokes, that the Red Guard for Palpatine never did anything. Which if you look at the old EU comic books, they did have Crimson Empire, which was a fun series to watch. Metal Pipe saying he doesn't typically have any favorites. That's cool. You know, not everyone has something that stands out specifically. Um, but uh, but yeah, the Crimson Empire was one of the first comics I actually read, and so seeing how in the movies the Red Guard didn't do anything, that was just one of my ongoing jokes, that they had one job. Um, Mike says, what if Luke was fat?" I did like that. That was really fun to write. Um, I I wondered how well that would be received, because some people don't like ever having anyone make fun of things like that, but I did enjoy writing it, and that was one that my brother particularly liked, because he just likes those kind of jokes. I think I have a tough time thinking about what was my favorite. Um, I I do really like "What if Porkins blew up the Death Star," and one of the big reasons is because it was the very first one that I ever did. Or ever wrote. Like I said earlier, I wasn't the first one I posted, but the first one I wrote. I remember the first thumbnail I ever made on Canva for that one. But yeah. And then Jar Jar Binks, Savior of the Galaxy, was another one that I kind of liked. For the versus video, those were like almost nobody watched my versus videos. Um, and Yeah, I was disappointed in that. I like the versus videos, but there were a few of those that I really liked too, and one of them was who was it? It was Emperor Vitiate versus what's the name of the guy? Ben Quadraneros, I think it was, which is like way out there. So a lot of people don't even know who Vitiate is, or Ben Quadraneros for that matter. But I like that one personally. Um, so yeah, and then the other thing that I really liked were my Christmas parody songs, which also got very, very few views. But I liked the parody songs that I did last year, the 5 different Christmas songs. I have a script for 4 more Christmas songs that I ended up not doing. And then I wanted, if you guys know, one of the what's the best way to describe this man? The most elite, premier musician of our era is Weird Al Yankovic. And he did a song called The Saga Begins, where he did a parody of American Pie. And in that parody, he did telling of the episode 1, The Phantom Menace. And I love that song since I first heard it as a kid, and I still know that song. And one of my dreams is to one day like see as at an award show Ewan McGregor singing that song in duet with Weird Al, and having all of the Star Wars actors come on stage and like get all those nostalgia nods going. So I love that. I was working on a song for every movie to try and do a parody in the same way, but people just didn't watch the music videos that I did. So I ended up not being super motivated to complete it. The ones I can remember, I was gonna do what's the name of the song? Just Silence, Hello, silence, my old friend. I was going to do that for episode 7, and it was going to be hello, dark side, my old friend. I've come to call on you again, and I am searching for my uncle now. I'm going to find and kill him somehow, and I'll make my grandfather proud. And like, I had these songs written out, but I don't have the musical ability to do it on my own and didn't find the motivation to go for it. At one point, I was thinking to see about asking one of you guys I don't think he's watching now, but one of the other guys who has posted faithfully and watched a lot of my stuff. It's time for Tim. I was thinking about asking him because I know he does music and seeing if we could do some sort of collaboration. And I'd recommend you guys, if you want to check out his stuff. He's got some fun music things that he does. Very, very different from my content, but he's a nice guy and he's much, much better musician than I am. But yeah, and then another video that I really wanted to do that I never got to was recasting Star Wars. And it was something that I would like to have done as a collab with other people. And I just never got to the point where I could collab. I interacted a bit with Bantha Stew, who's got some funny Star Wars video, and with Star Wars Quinn. And Bantha Stew is more serious. I think he's got some funny ideas, but he takes them in a serious way. And then Star Wars, not Quinn, Star Wars Quill. Dang it. Now I'm doubting myself. I'm almost certain it's Quill. Star Wars Quill. Yes. Okay. And I've interacted with him in like comment sections and whatnot, and he's always been cool. To me, we never collaborated on anything, but the times I've interacted with him, he's always been cool, and he's got comedy stuff. So he's one of the few guys that really goes hard into the comedy stuff. If you guys ever want to check his stuff out too. And both of those guys, Bantha Stew and Star Wars Quill, are bigger YouTubers than I am. So I never got a collab with anyone. But recasting Star Wars was something I always wanted to do. And I had picked out the main human characters of every Star Wars movie. And I had a couple of running themes. One of the themes was I picked a lot of people that were from the Muppets. So, like Michael Caine was in one of my favorite movies of all time, A Muppet Christmas Carol, which I just watched yesterday, and I would have cast him as Tarkin. Was one of my picks, and I did a bunch of other guys that were in the Muppets. Tim Curry. Who did I cast him? I think Count Dooku. Tim Curry, if you guys know him, he's in just a huge number of things, but he was also Long John Silver in a Muppet Treasure Island. And another one of the things I did was Family Matters. I had a whole bunch of guys from Family Matters. I can't remember exactly who I cast as who, but the one that I think would have been fantastic, because for all of the castings that I would have suggested, I was going to pick someone who would have been like era appropriate. So in 1977, Michael Caine playing Tarkin could have worked, but you couldn't have someone like what's a good example? You couldn't have someone like Channing Tatum playing Luke Skywalker, because Luke Skywalker, like, Channing Tatum wasn't even born when Star Wars came out. I don't think he's that old. I guess I'm not sure. But if he was, he would have been too young to play it. So I looked for guys that were like of the appropriate age, and one of the ones that I thought was best was the clones. And to be honest, I think that they cast the clones really, really well. And now I'm blanking on the actor's name. Timur. Oh, what's his name? I gotta look it up here. It's TM something. Temuera. Okay, I was spelling it wrong. Temuera Morrison, and I don't know how to pronounce it. I was thinking Temura, but that's bad pronunciation probably. I think he just done a great job as Jango the Clones and Boba Fett. Didn't like the writing in Book of Boba Fett so much. I think they took the character not an ideal situation. But I do like him as an actor, but who I would have replaced him with would have been Terry Crews, because I think it would be absolutely horrifying for a clone army of Terry Crews, he's famous for a number of different things. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, um, and Idiocracy are the two first things that come to mind. What did you say, Metal Pipe? Yoda should be voiced by some random homeless guy. That's it sound like Voda was a random homeless Muppet, so that does kind of make sense. But when I think of Yoda and his voice acting, I always think of Miss Piggy. And like just like I said yesterday, I watched Muppet Christmas Carol, and I was saying my family who I was watching it with, in the Muppet Christmas Carol, you have Kermit as Bob Cratchit, married to Mrs. Piggy, and they have two boys, which are both frogs, and two girls, which are both pigs. And I said to my family, all of the kids should be Yodas, because first off, if a frog marries a pig, it makes sense that a Yoda is what that results in, because it's an abomination hybrid thing of the two. But also because Frank Oz did the voice for both of them, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm gonna double check myself. Miss Piggy voice actor is Frank Oz. Yeah, so Miss Piggy and Yoda have the same voice actor, which is kind of crazy. And you can tell, I think, especially in episode 5 in Empire, when Yoda does some of his laughs and stuff. It's like it's the same laugh, the laugh, as Miss Piggy. But yeah, so over my time on YouTube though, because I'm gonna go ahead and wind this down. I only wanted to go for like 20 to 30 minutes. Over my time on YouTube, I've got a lot of encouragement from many of you guys that are watching, and I'm very grateful for that. And I've got some ideas that I just don't think I could bring to life, but I wanted to share them with you a little bit in this video. And at this point, I do not plan on making any more YouTube videos. It is possible that I might, but I don't plan on it. For my comedic creative endeavors, what I'm moving towards now is I've got a prototype for a card game that I'm trying to get made. If you guys, this is not my real name, this is a fake name, but if you ever see a game by Rodney Scott, unless there happens to be some other guy named Rodney Scott, that's a pseudonym that I'm trying to use to get like board games and card games published under. And so I've got what I think is a pretty solid prototype. So maybe keep your eyes open for that. A game called Save the Baby in like 4 years, because it takes, if I'm able to sell it this year, it'll take like 3 years before it's actually produced. But yeah, for now I'm hanging it up on YouTube and focusing on the other responsibilities in my life, which are good, wonderful things. And yeah, that being said, it looks like 3 of you who are who are actually watching this, if you have anything else to say in the chat, now would be the time. I'll give you guys a couple seconds as I think of anything else that I might want to say. Yeah, so Mel Pipe says it's a shame I'm stopping. You had some ridiculous ideas. You had a lot of ridiculous ideas, my friend, and some of them I thought were amazing, and some of them I was like, whatever. But you had a lot of very fun ideas, and I'm very appreciative of it. But yeah, what I would do with the ideas is I would take screenshots actually of the comments, because that would have the idea, it would have the date that it was suggested, and it would have the name of the person. And because of that, I would be able to then just have a screenshot, and whenever I wanted to do a new video, I had some time in the week, I would open it up and I would just like highlight 10 of the JPEGs of the screenshots. I'd click on them, cycle through, and I'd see one that I like, and then I'd go ahead and make it. Was something that I did. So on my other computer, I have something like 200 screenshots of different ideas that people have given me. And then I saved a folder of all the ones that I'd already done. So that was fun. Mike, you're asking me don't delete my channel. I don't know if I'm going to or not. I am thinking about it. But I'm not sure. So if you guys want to download my videos, now would be the time in case I do take them down. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to do it at least for a little bit of time, that's for sure, to give some folks some time. But yeah, okay, guys. I think I'm going to wrap this live stream down. I do have one video still coming out, which it's already uploaded. As soon as I finish this, I'm going to go to my YouTube studio and I'm gonna actually make it live. But just a little final thing that I wanted to say as I close this down. Oh, Movie Critic, thank you for posting. Thank you for all the funny stories. Good luck on your new journey. I appreciate that. But yeah, it's been fun, guys. I'm glad that you've watched with me. I'm glad that you've encouraged me. And you guys, I suspect, have brought me a lot more happiness and enjoyment than I've brought any of you individually, because the way that I've seen people respond and interact and stuff has been something that has just really been very fun for me. And I'll just give one final piece of advice. If any of you guys want to be YouTubers, if people are mean to you, still be nice to them. That's what I would recommend, because it just doesn't help you to dwell on the mean stuff and just be like, they don't like me and all that sort. So yeah, I think I will leave it at that. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.